Recording in progress. Good evening, ladies. Good evening, gentlemen, and good evening, my dear shifters. Today is the 16th of April, 2026, and this is Paradigm Shift week. This is Paradigm Shift premium session. I wanted to say weekly general AMA because I don't see people up on stage, but it's fine. Like I was saying, we're gonna go and we're gonna check a little bit the economic calendar so we see what's up here. The thing that I really like is this. The fact that I can look at the Empire State Manufacturing Index, like we spoke yesterday, it surprised to the upside. And today, the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index just blasted. So, if you take them one by one, they're not so important. But if you correlate them, if you take them like the Empire State, which is for the New York area, this is for the Philadelphia area, they are important as for the whole manufacturing sector. So most likely next week, I think. Where is United States? Okay, flash manufacturing PMI, but I was waiting for the ISM manufacturing PMI. Okay, so next week and the week after, we're gonna have the manufacturing PMIs, and most likely, if these numbers were good, most likely we're also gonna have a green number for the manufacturing PMI, which is very nice. Another important thing is the fact that we still see the unemployment claims dropping. I don't know if we had the conversation here, but I think it was here in the last Premium AMA. I don't know if it was Adrian or someone else. And I mentioned that I cannot position myself based on something that I don't know. If these numbers are cooked, and it's very possible that these numbers are cooked, maybe we have more people filing for unemployment in the United States, not just 207,000 from 300 million. So maybe much more than that they're filing for unemployment. But I cannot formulate a theory and a actionable thesis and plan based on something that I don't know. So if someone says that these numbers are manipulated by the current administration, by the Trump administration, or whoever, my only question is, okay, so what are the real numbers? Are they higher? Are they lower? If they're higher, what are the numbers? Are we at 350,000? Are we at 500,000? Are we at 1 million unemployment claims? How many are there? So, and if someone cannot give a number, even if I agree with them, even if I, let's say like these numbers are cooked and the job market in the United States is much worse than it's presented to us, how can you formulate a thesis or based on something that you don't know? You just pick an X, like a huge X in your formula or your huge X in your thesis, and you just go blindly about it. I see 207,000. For me, this looks like a strong job market in the United States. At least until something is gonna happen. Okay, so as you can see, this week we had the green numbers across the board. Everything was good. For next week, what's gonna be the most important thing? The manufacturing PMIs for Europe. So for France, for Germany, and for the whole Euro area, and after that for United States. As you can see, manufacturing PMI was at 52.3. We're gonna see what are the expectations. What I'm really curious about is the services PMI, because most of the time the services are leading. So I'm gonna be very curious how this is going. Plus the unemployment claims, etc. But this is gonna be the story for next week. The manufacturing and the services PMI for the biggest regions that we are following. And in the last week of April, we're gonna have Bank of Japan, which they already telegraphed to the market. So they already communicated to the market that they might hike the interest rate. It's very important because I explained yesterday and in other videos, Japan for the last 20 something years has been one of the main suppliers of cheap money across the globe because of their ultra low interest rate policy. Now they're hiking. So in the last few years after COVID and after they also expanded the balance sheet, they started also to have inflation, and they don't want to leave the inflation to go rampant. So now they're hiking. When they're hiking, it also means that the yen is not going to be so cheap as it was before, or they cannot, traders around the world, they cannot execute at the same levels the carry trades. So pay attention to this. Let's see if Bank of Japan are going to hike. Also on the 29th, we're going to have the federal fund rate. So we're going to see if Federal Reserve are going to hike. or hike, sorry, if they're going to cut, but most likely they will not do anything because they don't have any reasons to. We're going to have the European Central Bank also. So the last week of April is going to be full of economic events. Bank of Japan, Federal Reserve, uh, Great Britain, so the Bank of England, and the European Central Bank. A lot of important shakers and movers, plus the GDP of United States. So prepare for prepare for this week. Is gonna be very, very interesting. So this is on the economic calendar, and now before we jump to actually let's check a bit TradFi, and after that I'm gonna come back to what I want to do different this evening. I just want to check different sectors, and I want to see which are some of the things that we can pay more attention. Maybe we can have some trades if Bitcoin is going to continue above 76. Let's see. I think we are in a weird spot, and I spoke about this yesterday, and I spoke also in the video. I said that we're in a weird spot because let's see if S&P 500, Nasdaq, they're going to have those strong highs, you know, like convincing highs, not just some sweeps of the previous highs or like failed highs, etc. But let's check a bit what's happening in the TradFi sector. And this is what we have right now. I'm happy to see that more people joined. Hello, video. Hello to everybody who just joined. Hello, Ashur, Rex. The option adjusted spread, we can see that the slope is still going lower. This is what we want for risk assets. Well, at least for TradFi. Even if Bitcoin is not going higher, or the whole crypto sector is not following as fast and as much as we would want TradFi, what would be even worse right now would be for Dow Jones, Nasdaq, S&P to drop, for this to rise. Because if Dow Jones, not if Nasdaq drops, if S&P drops, you're going to see that Bitcoin is going to be much more correlated to the downside. Why is this happening? A lot of people are confused, and a lot of people, I see people frustrated. They say, oh, Nasdaq is at all-time high, S&P is at all-time high, Russell is at all-time high, but Bitcoin cannot catch a wave. Why is that happening? Well, because value investors understand cycles, and they understand that Bitcoin is in a bear market, and it's in own cycle by like it behaves its own cycle, right? So they choose to still invest in something that goes higher rather than rotate right now. So, and they still see it as a much riskier asset class. So to the upside is not as correlated, and you saw in the last 6 months, 7 months, before we had the war in Iran, S&P was going higher, Dow Jones was going higher, Nasdaq was going higher, Russell was going higher, and still Bitcoin was dropping. Why was that happening? Because of the reasons that I just mentioned. And why would they correlate more to the downside? Well, because of the same reasons, because Bitcoin and crypto are the riskier asset class. So they are like the beta to the stock market. And if something happens and investors still hold, just say some ETFs like IBIT or some of the other ETFs, and they hold Coinbase stock, or they hold MicroStrategy, or they hold Bitcoin itself, they're going to liquidate those first, right? Because those are the riskier assets, and they want to be left with much stabler, like something that is a little bit more stable in their views. In my opinion, Bitcoin already won, but still traditional investors hold very little Bitcoin when it comes to the weight in their portfolio. So they're going to liquidate those. I mean, the real people, not the real people, the big market participants will liquidate those first. So unfortunately, we are still in that situation where Bitcoin and crypto are and will be much more correlated to the stock market when the stock market is going to drop, or when the stock market is going to have a correction, because of the dynamics that I just mentioned right now. Like I said, you're going to see a lot of people confused, frustrated, and that's why I wanted to give you this bit of context, so you're not going to be one of those people in case we start correcting again on Dow Jones, Nasdaq, S&P, and you will see that Bitcoin is going to drop again. You're not going to be like, oh, okay, so why is it correlated to the downside? This is the reason why it's correlated to the downside, because it's still the riskier asset class. So the correlation is going to be much bigger when we're going to drop than it is when we are rising for now. Good. So we spoke about the option adjusted spreads from Bank of America. No recession on the horizon, at least not now. DXY. Yesterday we spoke about this important level, so I would not be surprised to see DXY bouncing and printing the next lower high. At the end of this week, I will flip this from higher highs and higher lows to lower highs and lower lows. I just want to see how we're going to close this week, but I already see this, so let's see where we're going to have the next lower high. I just want to have the weekly close, that's why. But I'm not surprised that we're bouncing from this area. Mentioned this area in the Monday analysis, mentioned it yesterday in the weekly general AMA. I thought that someone wrote something. And I also mentioned this potential pullback. I thought that we're going to have the potential, the pullback from Tuesday. Well, it's just happening on Thursday. Let's see how much we're going to pull back. But I will use this as a potential entry. So as a potential long whenever we're going to be anywhere. I don't know if we're going to tap this area between 1.165 and 1.168. However, as you can see, we are already in a higher high, higher low structure. So let's see where we print the next higher low. It can be here, it can be here, it can be here. I don't want to see it under this cluster. So if we're gonna have a close under this cluster, it's gonna look like weakness. I just want a continuation of this market structure. So of this new bullish sequence of higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so this is what I want to see in the upcoming weeks. I don't know if months, but at least in the upcoming weeks. This is going to be supportive for risk assets. What do we need for risk assets? We need a weaker dollar. We don't need a stronger dollar. The stronger the dollar is going to get, even short to mid term, the more pressure is going to put on risk assets, especially on riskier risk assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. So we need euro dollar to go higher to put pressure on the XY. I'm not going to look so much at the forex side. Again, pay attention to USD JPY and JPY cross pairs. They're saying that the things in Iran finished, but I still see oil very elevated. We're still at $95 per barrel. This does not look like things are finished there. This just looks like consolidation before the next leg higher. For me, I would believe that everything finished when I'm gonna see WTI back under 80. So if I'm gonna see it under 80 in the next weeks, months under this structure, for me it's gonna be clear that things are gonna quiet down in the region for a while. But when I see oil above 90 and I see it at 95, and in this consolidation, for me this is not a good sign, or at least it's not a sign that the things are stable in the Middle East. For me, this just looks like tension. Gold, the same, spoke about, when I say the same structure and the same price action as yesterday. I said that we are still in a correction. And I want to see how we're going to behave when we're going to tap the 5,100 area. So here is going to be very important, because if we reject, it just means that we connect with the first high, with the second lower high, and this might be the next lower high for another move lower. So it's going to be very important if we're going to have continuation from the buyers. We already had the first demand area plus the whole bigger demand area, which I just correlated with the previous reaccumulation zone. And about 4,500, 4,550, we just had the continuation. So I just want to see. For me, there is a no trade zone right now. Maybe I'll short if we go in towards 5,100, grab some liquidity and we reject from that. But for now, I don't want to do this. I just rather be passive. And one of the reasons why I don't want to take shorts, or I also don't know if I'm going to take a short there, because the weekly trend is extremely, extremely bullish. We are in a cyclical, like I would say, multi-yearly bull run. Even on this, this is just a correction within I showed you yesterday, right? This is just a normal correction after such a crazy run. Look at the monthly charts. Like, of course, after this kind of rally, I would have expected it even to drop lower, maybe towards 3,500. Even at 3,500, this would still be bullish. Imagine that. So okay, maybe under 4,000 is neutral. So between 4,000 and 3,500, maybe I'll be neutral here, but only under 3,500, I would flip bearish on gold. For now, this just looks absolutely parabolic. Look what we had here, what a big base we formed. We had a parabolic move, so obviously we also had some pullback. But for me, we can even stay here 1 year, between 4,200 and 5,400, 5,200. So we can stay between these two before we have the next rally high. So that's why I don't feel comfortable taking shorts when I still see, look also at the daily chart, at the weekly chart, when I see that the higher time frame charts for gold that looks so bullish. This is just a correction after like a crazy run. Please bear in mind, hold on a second, that this is at this value $34 trillion market. 34. So when something like this doubles in value, of course you're gonna see some periods of profit taking. Of course you're gonna see some periods of sideways. So I don't wanna go. In English you say piss against the wind. Silver 0H for me here. Okay, still a correction, but it's like weaker. VIX this time did not go to 60. So what we had here, what we had here and here, meaning that we went to 60 and above, did not repeat this time. So this time we broke above 30, but we pulled back under it without having a spike towards 60. So this is not needed anymore. It's not useful anymore. I'm just gonna watch VIX just to see if we're accelerating on the VIX, meaning if we're gonna go risk off. But for now, as you can see, VIX rejects from 30, rejects just a zone. Don't do technical analysis on it. We're just going lower. Very similar to what we watch on the spreads on the like OAS, option adjusted spreads from Bank of America. Very similar on VIX. When this starts to go higher and the slope continues to the upside, most likely you're gonna see S&P, Nasdaq, Bitcoin going lower. When this goes lower, most likely you're gonna see S&P, Nasdaq, and maybe also sometimes also Bitcoin going higher. Okay, so what do we want from VIX? To have this kind of slope to the downside. And for now, this is what's happening. Good. S&P. We spoke about this scenario since 2 weeks ago when we broke above 6,600 and especially about 6,785. It was impossible to be bearish once we recovered above this area. We just blasted higher, and now we have a clear all-time high. This was important, so this candle was important, and also this is important. But not only this, spoke about this yesterday in great detail. I want to see how we're going to close this week and how we're going to close the week after, and also like how we're going to close the next 3 weekly candles are going to be extremely important because they're going to define the monthly close, and even how we're going to continue in May. Because right now we need to see buyers, they stepped up. Don't get me wrong. This was an impressive recovery, extremely impressive recovery. I saw a lot of people going against it. I saw a lot of people who tried to short it and they just got smoked. And after that, they spoke about manipulation, low volume, etc. Well, the usual. What I want to see is if we have a continuation. I don't want to see some, false breaks. I don't want to see just some sweep and after that the break to the downside. That's not going to be constructive. And that can put a lot of pressure on Bitcoin and the whole crypto sector because of the dynamics that I explained in the beginning of the video. So I'm patient here, but I still think that pullbacks are for buying. Let me see what Ichimoku says. Ichimoku says that we flipped bullish. The next 1 day, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. So in the next 2 weeks, we're going to have either more confirmation to the upside, either we're going to just have some swing failures. I'm neutral to bullish here. So like bullish neutral, let's just say, just because I want to see what type of reaction we have here, and just because I want to see if buyers are still interested to buy at these levels. If not, some pullback is more than fine, as long as we hold above 6,786. So to print some sort of a higher low in this structure, for me is fine. I don't want to see it back under 6,785. I don't want to see it back under. So if I see it back under here, I can think again about some similar structure to this. But for now, like I said, it would have been very obvious that I would have been bearish biased if I would have still said that this is bearish. It's not bearish. Above this area, it's not bearish anymore. So don't try to get cute. Don't try to short it here. It's minus EV if you short, especially in all-time high. Why would you short an asset in all-time high? It's exactly the opposite of this. So if this was the all-time low, just think about it. Like why would you buy or why would you try to long something that lost the lows from here? Why would you try to long it here? Does it make sense? It does not make sense. You're just buying a falling knife. So I said this to a lot of people who are here for the last 3 years in the beginning, and I'm going to say it again, at least one time per month, clear your chart fully and press Alt plus I from India on TradingView. So you can flip your chart and you can check your bias. And just by looking at this, I can safely say that I'm bearish here. Why? Because we broke to the downside. We lost the last lows. And even if we do this and continue, even if we do this and continue, that's not going to change anything for me. I have to see the price doing something like this. So losing the lows from here. And so even 6,600, look, lower than I said initially. So under 6,600, just then it would have been bearish. So for now, no reason to get cute. Like I said, no reason. Don't try to short it. You're just gonna die. You're just gonna donate money to the market. Even if you're gonna get it right once, it's better to wait for more confirmation to see that we're flipping back. The simple moving average 200. So the daily simple moving average 200. It's also advancing. So the slope is higher. We recovered above it on the 9th of April. This can also offer some support because if this is gonna go higher, just by time spent, this is going to come somewhere around this area. So it's going to offer like a confluence of supports. We're going to have an intersection between the daily moving average, the simple daily moving average 200 plus the level around this level, plus the support around this area around 6,785. This is going to be an intersection of supports. So it's going to be even stronger to break and a potential nice long if we drop back to it. Good. Nasdaq the same. All-time high, clear all-time high, but I want to see continuation. The potential corner case that people are not watching comes from Dow Jones. I'm watching this carefully because although we have S&P at all-time high, Nasdaq at all-time high, even Russell, it's almost scratching the all-time highs, not yet. We can see that Dow Jones is not following. So there might be something here. We spoke about this yesterday. This looks like a high, a low, and a lower high, right? So we need also Dow Jones to follow through and take out the highs from here without printing a double top, etc. Just this can happen. And if this is happening, this can be a signal that also these ones will reverse. I'm not calling it now, but I'm paying attention. I don't see people mentioning this. I see a lot of people in, again, euphoria. I see a lot of people, throwing risk management out the window, and it's good. I'm also bullish. How can you be bearish on something in price discovery? It does not make any sense if you're not biased. But I'm watching this just as a, how can I say, like fundamentally risk management framework, because on the way up until recently, Dow Jones was actually leading S&P, Nasdaq, etc. As you can see, from November last year, actually from October last year, S&P made just marginal highs. Okay, so this high like 1% before, like compared to the highs from October is nothing. And after that, these are not all-time highs. This is a clear all-time high. These were not all-time highs. Nasdaq the same since October, but Dow Jones, if you remember, was just printing all-time high after all-time high. So look, October, and it was leading. Now it is lagging and maybe is leading to the downside. So something to think about, something to ponder about. Japan doing Japan things. I told you that I think this is extremely strong, but the same, I want to see a continuation. This is it from the TradFi. If you don't have any question, we can, or maybe, I don't know. I know that some of you are also watching some stocks. Actually, I want to see something personally. This is what I want to see. How is this looking? So this is so strong, man. Okay, so look, we had the war in Iran. We had a drop of 10%, which was immediately recovered by the stock market in Romania, and we're up again 10% and almost in all time. I'm telling you, if some sort of a correction comes and we're gonna see this dropping 20, 30%, this might be one of the best investments for the next 10 to 15 years. I see a lot of interest towards Romania. And if you remember, I spoke about this in the last elections, in the last presidential after the last presidential elections, and I kept mentioning this over and over. This gets my attention. I might also reactivate my accounts with TradeVille or yeah, I think TradeVille was going to be the best option to buy BET to buy BVB. Looks extremely strong, extremely strong. A lot of money are being invested in Romania. So I think it was a Korean manufacturer who invests now in Romania. A lot of infrastructure is being pushed. You saw how fast we built the A7, and you saw how fast we are pushing and how fast they're pushing other highways. I know some of the reasons might be just because we're neighbors with Ukraine, but I'm just talking from a development side. And I saw Rheinmetall also opening some factory here, and I see a lot of interest towards Romania. So keep an eye on that. Some of you might have money in the bank, right? Instead of letting those fuckers, generate profits with your money and you just receive 2, 3, 4% per year if you're lucky. This can generate maybe 4 or 5% in a quarter. Of course, the same principles apply that like we apply in Bitcoin. Don't just go all in and I'm gonna buy BVB, I'm gonna buy BET at all-time high. Deploy money gradually in the next few years, and you can check it in 10 years, and most likely you're gonna have a better ROI than what any bank would give you at any deposit for 10 years. So yeah, I just wanted to check it. If you're not interested in stocks, I think it's a good moment to check what's happening to the crypto space. I'm gonna check all the other details that we spoke about yesterday, but I will just go to Bitcoin and Ethereum before we go to the altcoin sector. On 4 hours, I wanted to show you something. So besides the true market mean, the one that I explained yesterday in great detail, which sits between 78 and 80. So this is where the true market mean indicator from Glassnode sits. And we have a lot of supply there if we're gonna, or when we're gonna reach that area. Even before we reach that area, I just want to show you this. So the recovery that started in late February and it was until mid-March hit the 74 up to 76 wall. This is the reason why I mentioned this area. A lot of people dismissed it. Some people cursed me. Some people blocked me because of this. The only thing that I did was watching this level, how it broke to the downside, the type of reaction that we had here. Again, the reaction that we had here, plus the reaction that we had here. So it was very telling. As you can see, since early February, the market does not accept the price above 74. It does not. What does that mean? It means that even with the huge inflows that we have from Michael Saylor with his new STRC financial vehicle from IBIT, which is the BlackRock ETF with billions of dollars of demand, there are still more sellers who are pushing and they're keeping the price under this level. And the only thing that I said when we started this recovery is that again, 74, 76 is going to be a huge supply area. And guess what's happening here? If this was not an important level, we would have just blasted through it, right? So we would just done something like this because we had the tailwinds and we still have the tailwinds, right? Like I said, 2 billion inflows. The inflows that we've seen in the last 10, 14 days, so in the last 2 weeks in Bitcoin especially, are the biggest ones since late January. So since here, they're the biggest inflow since here. But even then, look what happened in a bear market. We had the biggest inflows here and we dropped 30%. Why? Because even with those inflows, we had more people selling. And this is what means the true market mean here. So until I don't see that this area is cleared and we don't go at least above 80, which is somewhere around here, I'm not gonna be flipping anything like on my bias. Actually, I'm waiting to short this if we are going back under this level. I thought that I picked it. So if we're going back under 73, this is the place where the last time we dropped from that channel and we started printing lower highs and lower lows until we found the last bottom, so the last local bottom. But now if we're gonna lose it, so if we're gonna drop back to 73 without going higher or without printing a higher high, so taking out the highs from here, it would mean that this sequence of higher highs and higher lows is going to be invalidated. So now we have it, right? And now we reject it from the higher high. And it looks like we're going to go to the area where we should print the next higher low. So from here, we need a reaction from the buyers to connect it with this low and to connect it with this low from here. Okay? If this does not happen and we, for some reason, we drop back here, we do something like this, and we lose 73, the next area is going to be around 70. And I think that's going to be the level to really watch, because if we drop under 70, I think we're going to print the new lows. So we're going to go very similar like we did here, but instead of stopping again around 64, 66, most likely we're going to attack the previous lows from here and finally feel that week. From there, I don't know what's going to happen. But as long as we are capped under 76 and we don't continue above the true market mean, this is the scenario that I'm watching. Especially, you know, with all the bullish news that we have, Bitcoin cannot catch a whiff. Bitcoin cannot catch the tailwind. Why? Because it's in a fucking bear market. It's simple as that. More people are selling than more people are buying. It's simple supply and demand dynamics. But people still let the ego get the better of them, or the bias, etc. So this is what I see on Bitcoin. You know, this is my chart with the resistances, with the bear flag that I explained that I saw from Wolf Bitcoin. This is a potential bear flag. The confirmation is going to come if we lose 66. Ethereum, very clean. Look how clean is this level. So since we drop underneath it in the beginning of February, around 2,400, bam, rejection. And even now, rejection. So what do we need? Very simple, very clean, very clear. We need something like we saw on S&P 500. We need a break, a retest, and a continuation to the upside. As long as we have these rejections, it means that this whole area between 2,400 and I would say up to 2,450 is going to act as a resistance. And it's a very, very big supply. If you're watching the analysis, which I really hope that you're doing since you're here in Paradigm, you know that this is my framework. If we get about 2,400, we might have like a higher push toward 2,785. Otherwise, I'm expecting Ethereum back at least to 2,145. The problem with this is that it might print a local double top. And if this is happening, we can speak about 1,500. So new lows. This is going to be also on the back foot of Bitcoin going back under 74 and 72. So for now, you saw bullish S&P, bullish Nasdaq, but I'm still waiting to see what type of all-time highs are this and what type of reaction we're going to have in price discovery. Bearish on Bitcoin, bearish on Ethereum. It's not that hard. But if I'm bearish, it does not mean that I'm going to short now. For example, here I want to short it if it's going to go back under 73, and I'm going to add more under 72. So if we do something like this, I'm going to open my short here, and going under 72, I'm going to add under my short there, and I'm just going to let it ride. For now, I'm just watching. But this is something that I wanted to show shifters. Okay? Plus the things that we just discussed. The supply and demand dynamics. This is all for Bitcoin and Ethereum. There is something else that I want to talk about this evening, and I want to check it with you shifters actually. This is what I want to check. I want to see if we have any outliers, any sectors that are performing extremely good. Actually, I'm gonna leave you guys here on the top, and I'm gonna move also the chat in case. Are you watching something in particular? Are you watching any sectors or something that caught your attention? Because I can If not, I mean, if you have any ideas, you can tell me now. If not, I'm just gonna look at the gains in the last 7 days. Okay, music. Okay, but in the last 24 hours, not so much. Okay, music category. What the fuck is this? Do you guys know about this? So crazy. It's just because of this, because of Rave DAO. Okay, not interesting. Bye. Entertainment. Okay. It's still because of Rave DAO. Okay, and engine and winter not. Okay, not interesting. Tokenized treasury bills. Okay, let's see. Maybe this is something interesting. Let's see what are the best tokens who perform here. But why was that gain 128% in the last 7 days if I don't see it in the projects there? What's this? The fuck is this? How is this possible? Where are the gains? I don't get it. This is so weird. It tells me that this sector, the tokenized treasury bills sector, went up 128%, but okay, tokenized assets. So RWA. Okay, so these are the stocks which Binance Alpha Spotlight. Okay, let's see. I know that they had a huge hack, but Tether invested in them after the hack. After the hack, oh, you know what? I saw a lot of people talking about this, so I'll open Tria. What else caught my attention? I heard some people talking about Lab as well. I'm not interested in these ones, at least not now. Privacy infrastructure. Okay, this might be an interesting sector. Good. So, privacy infrastructure and Tria. I will stick to this. Let me see if there is anything else around here. Analytics, not so much. Privacy also. So I'll open exactly this. Besides the usual list, besides the usual Ichimoku list, I will open a new list or make a new list and call it privacy. Or maybe I already have one. Yes, I have a privacy list. Look. And it's Zcash. This did if you think about it, this actually worked out. It didn't go to 63, but it did go to 48. Very interesting. And I will also open the list here. Privacy. I should have a list. Yes. This is not available anymore. Okay, so let's see what we have on the privacy list. Coins. Ecash. Just on Bitmart. Okay. Ghost. USDT. This is on Wex. Zera USDT. Oh, we don't have it anywhere? That's so weird. Okay. Void DeFi. What's up with these coins? They're not listed anywhere. Zama. Okay, this is even on Binance. Cool. It's good that it's on Binance. But I have to I have to put this one here and this one here. Good. Anoma. No, we don't have it. Oxen. Bybit. Veil. I heard about Veil in the last bull run. No, no, no. Veil. No. Machines. Rail USD. Mexi. Oh, Rose. Nice. OG coin. So Zone is, this is not, this is not. These are on Binance. Null USDT. Don't have it. NOK. USDT. No. And after that are gonna come the okay, BLKH. No. Horizon, we have it. We have it there. We should have it. Oh, the Zen is there. ZKUSDT. Okay, this is on Binance. I think it's fine for now. And top privacy. These are the same ones. Let me see if there is something in that. Oh, Koti. Let me put it here. This was very hot in the last cycle. Let me just watch also by. Okay, it's fine also from here. And all no 3 I want to put it. 3 I want to put it here. Mexi, and I want to put it on the top of the list because I saw some interesting things from it. And we might trade it with my penny trades. Good. Okay, shifters. Did anyone from Romania move their coins from Binance because of Mika? I did not. So we have this question from from Cosmin. I did not move my coins. I also don't keep almost anything on Binance, just what I trade. So I just keep my USDT. All the other things, I just keep them on my ledger or I just keep them on my offline MetaMasks. That's it. Good. So privacy coins did good, and I think that privacy coins will do good also in the next cycle. I have a hunch. At, look at Zek in October when everything was going to shit. Zek did what it did. So where are we right now? I don't need this one. All the others I need. This was an important level, and this is an important level. We're still very bullish on Zek. So since the beginning of March, it's still up 70%, which is extremely strong. If you think about it, okay, this can be a next lower high. So don't get me wrong, right? So high, low, lower high, lower, low, lower high. But compared to other altcoins, this looks extremely, extremely strong. And we might have also another level at the previous all-time high from there, from which we can see that we are rejecting, so marginally above it. So this is the area. Oh, sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ashur. Thank you. I was already going in the zone. It's a good thing that what you wrote popped to my eye. So let's see it on daily. This whole area between 380 and up to 400, remember this area because it's going to be a huge, huge supply. And as you can see, it acted as supply again. It was not easy to break above it. It tried to break above it for the last week or so, and it couldn't. I'm not surprised. And now it looks like we're going to go to what is the demand zone. So this is going to be the demand zone. Supply right now, I think it's caught between 300 and 380, 400. So rejection from supply. Let's see how we react on the demand. If we lose also 300, the next level would be around 270, 260. But you can keep it super clean. This is supply. This is demand. Right now we are in a no man's land, right? So we are still bullish, right? Because we came from the lows, but we want to see how far this pullback is going to take us and how we're going to see and what type, not how we, what type of reaction we're going to see around 300, 307. So coming from here, let's see if we see something like this. Of course, it would benefit a lot if Bitcoin would continue higher, but don't try to short leaders. I spoke about this before and I'm going to repeat it again. I see a lot of people, especially people who are in their first years of trading, they see that we're in a bear market, right? And they see, I don't know, something like Pepe going down. And they look at something like Zcash and are like, oh, for sure, also, Zcash, it has to go down. So and they start shorting, I don't know, maybe they start shorting here and they expect a rejection. And they say that it goes higher and they add to their position, and finally they just get absolutely destroyed because they don't respect the market. They don't respect price. Regardless if we're in a bear market, we can see these crazy rallies. Look, so since February, this rallied 116%. It's still, look, from the all-time high, it's still down 55%, but it rallied. So why would you short something that is leading the market? Why would you short something that is strong? We short in weakness. We don't short in strength. We short in weakness and we long in strength. Okay? Very important. This move was a short squeeze. This move was fueled by people who are stubborn, by people who don't have discipline, by just people who don't have a plan and they just shorted because everything was going down, so this has to go down. And the only thing that went down was their account. So simple here. What do we have from? Let me update this. It's better if I just delete them and I take the ones from, I don't know, Pepe. I don't know why I still take the 200 daily moving average because the only one that I need, because I see that this is the most correlated, is the 365. And we are above the 365, as you can see. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. Where is Pepe compared to the 365? Like how low, like way underneath it. And even if it bounces, it's still going to be underneath it. And how high is above the 365 moving average Zcash. And guess what? People are not shorting this. People are shorting the strongest one instead of shorting this on a bounce. Look how clean this was. We bounced. We went above. I'm just going to call it 600 area. The moment when we went inside it, we had a clean short. Guess what? Instead of shorting this since December, people, or instead of shorting this, let's say since late February, they shorted this. And this just went higher and higher and higher until now. Completely opposite. And I was also in the same boat, believe me. Also in the same boat in my beginnings. I was doing some correlation. I was like, oh, if this went down, this also has to go down. No, it does not. Just respect the price. If price is going higher, why should you fight the price? Don't do it. You're just gonna hurt yourself on the long run. So ZEC looks good. Let's see Horizon. Actually, this is how you would want an asset or an altcoin to look when it's bottoming. I don't know if this is the bottom, guys. That's why I'm gonna just mark it with the gray. But this looks like a very interesting area. Very, very interesting area. I'm just gonna hold it until here. Extremely interesting area, all right? So I'm just gonna be very curious to see what's gonna be the price action in the upcoming months. But Bitcoin is somewhere here, right? So Bitcoin just went higher, 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 distributed, lower, lower, had that rising wedge, dropped, and now printed higher highs and higher lows on this time frame. But this is not how bottoms form. Bottoms don't form like this. okay? This most likely is going to end like this. We're going to have another leg lower. This is how bottoms form. Or this is how is the higher probability for a bottom to form, like this, sideways, not with an angle. This is not the bottom. This is how a bottom forms. Or a higher probability for a bottom is to be in this structure, not in this structure. This is a higher probability for, like a short-term recovery or for a bounce or for a counter trend rally. And after that, the true move to reveal itself. But this is how you would want an asset to bottom. And this looks like it's bottoming right now, or looks like a potential bottom. Can we drop another 17%, or can we make new lows? Obviously, we can make new lows. Look, this goes so far. This is an interesting area. So privacy coins, Zen looks good above $7. This starts to look very, very interesting. Let me be the devil's advocate, and I'm just gonna go a little bit higher. I just want to connect it with that low from there, with this last low. So I want even more confirmation, not just because like here you can get you can get spiked out. You see the market did not accept above this, but if we have a high somewhere around this area, which is going to be higher than this low from here, which is around 7.2, then you know that we're good, and most likely that would be the market bottom. And from there we can print nice structures of higher highs, higher lows, go above 8 and start attacking these levels from here. Fill the wick from here, and that's it. Zen looks good. Secret network. Haven't heard about them in ages. I don't even need this here. I don't need the upper levels right now. Nah, they're cooked. They are cooked. I'm not interested. Dash. Look what happened the last time when we had this proper accumulation, which is blasted higher. How much we went when we broke above the accumulation. Okay, a week was about 400%, but even if you would not be able to catch all that move, it's still a legit 200% move. So, and now we are back in the previous range. I would say that between, let's count these lows, between 18 and 40, that this is the deep value area. So if Dash drops back under 37, and anywhere between these levels, between 37 and 18, if it drops back to somewhere here and starts to do something like this, anywhere here, it's a good accumulation zone for medium to long term for Dash as well. Not interested in this one. This, wow. Let me open it itself because it deserves this. XMR, so strong. This should be also here. Here, I said that above 320, I'm interested in a long, but it was somewhere around this area. So back in November 2025. I'm not gonna delete this. I'm just gonna leave it here. Very similar to what I was showing you on Horizon on Zen, and not on Dash, but on Horizon, right? Maybe this is how we're going to print the bottom. Some of the altcoins will bottom before Bitcoin in this cycle. Some of them. I don't think that this is the bottom, but this is a very interesting structure. If this low is not going to hold around 320, which was a very important area, then the level between 250 and 280 should be treated as a huge, huge demand. Again, this is not for trading. This is for medium to long term if you are interested in some allocations in the privacy sector. Is this the correct one? I think this is the correct. Yeah. Very big correction. What do we see on weekly? has hold on. Very hard for me to speak about this one with Ichimoku. Extremely hard. Let me open the proper Ichimoku here because we have a new version. Come on today. And it looks like for me this looks like just an accumulation. If we're dropping back, like I said, if we're dropping back under 320, then I'll be interested in this area between 255 and 285. Keep XMR in your on your radars. Dash, we spoke about it. Let's see some of the what the fuck is this? Nah, not interested in this. No, no. I think this is a very small cap. I'm looking at the wicks and the way they are printed. This for me screams very small cap. I was not checking the small cap. I should have checked the small the small. I didn't check the market cap. I should have checked the market cap. But the way the candles are being printed and the sell and the buys, it tells me that most likely this is sub $50 million. Most likely between 50. I don't know, anywhere under 100 million, but I think this is sub $50 million. Nice rounded bottom, very nice rounded bottom, clean rounded bottom, break above 0.25. Let's see if we continue above 0.30, 0.31. For now, we see some profit taking, some rejection. I'll put it here. No. I remember that I was watching this for some reason. Not the worst price action, not the worst structures. Of course, it's just it looks like it's going down and down. But maybe we found some potential bottoms here. That would be a major area. Once we're gonna recover above it, let's see. So I'll give it a go. DCR looks legit. I don't know, shifters. The privacy sector looks okay. Of course, when ZEC is so strong, the other privacy coins can also catch a bit of fresh air from it. But I will track the privacy sector going forward. I think we can see some very nice things from it. This is a new listing. That's why it looks like it's looking. So ZAM also here, DCR. I think from all the things that I've checked in the last weeks, the privacy sector is among the strongest one. Rose dropped quite a lot. Oh, Jesus Christ. To 0.6. How much is this? 5. Okay, let's not. Oh, by the way, I want to check something. I saw some news from Mantra, and I think it had like it was short-lived. It had a spike in the price. Yeah, not important. I thought they managed to recover much more, but no. Rose. Guys, things like, for example, like Rose, like Zama, like XVG or PIVX or IEC. So until like these small ones, right? These ones are just a hit and run. If you trade this on spot, you just, after 50%, 100% profit, you take most of your profits and you just run from that, because these are a hit and run. This is not something that you accumulate thinking that they're gonna, how we say in Romanian, break the clouds, right? No, this is a hit and run. It's like extremely deep value, like extremely beaten up type of situation in a sector that might catch a lot of visibility. But this is not something that you should think about holding and holding and holding through. all of the cycle, etc. Like Rose, look what type of rallies Rose has. Imagine you cut something like this and you catch it for like 400% rally. You see it like it had, I'm not going to talk about 2021. It's just even 2023 or 2024. It has these crazy rallies, like even 200%. And now we are, I think, from all-time high 99 or 98% down. This can be an interesting spot to pick up some rows and just for a spot trade, and that's it. 5-10% out of your portfolio. You do 20%, 30% if it rallies 200%. You take your money and you put it back to Bitcoin. But this looks interesting. I don't know why ZK looks so bad. Nah. So I would say that all of them look interesting. I think this is and this is on. They are on Binance. These ones. Binance. Oh, Dash is also on Binance. PIVX is also on Binance. This is a good thing that PIVX is on Binance. It's a good thing, and this can be a nice spot for it as well. So yeah, keep an eye on the privacy coins shifters. Let's see how they gonna react in the upcoming weeks, months. But if I don't speak about them anymore, just remind me from time to time, because I think they can be an interesting sector, even for some short to medium term trades on spot. How are we looking on the altcoins? Hold on. I'll show you how we're looking on the altcoins. And this is why I wanted to put Tria here, because it's a new listing. They have an interesting business model. I have to research more about it. Maybe Patrick's, if he's going to be around, he's going to tell us more about it, because I saw that he's using some of their services. He's taking with them. So, and they're doing some type of buybacks and burns. But this can be an interesting allocation in this desert of projects, or when almost nothing is growing. We can channel our attention on something like this. Of course, it's a new one. We don't have any of those metrics, so check out Tria. Dropped 60% from all-time high. It already had the bounce. Not bad, not bad. Maybe on the next pullback at 0025 or 0020, you can pick something up from it. Hype, extremely strong shifters, extremely strong. One of the strongest on, actually, even from here. It chose the stronger path, broke above 42. Now we have the pullback. Let's see if it holds above 42. But in case, and I'll say this, in case we have like a 20-something% pullback, or this is a dream. I don't think that this can pull back 40% without Bitcoin dropping 20-25%. But in case we drop back towards 30-35 area, I will make an alert and I will start allocating to Hyperliquid. It's among the strongest ones out there. So like I said, put it on the top of your list. As you can see, it's on the top of my list. This and Ethereum. So we spoke about Tria. Pepe looks weak. CRV. Listen, I think very similar to what I was talking about, the demand areas on some of the privacy coins. I think that CRV it's in a similar position. After it had this massive higher highs and higher lows structure, September until the 10-10 came, it couldn't print again the higher low and continue to the upside. 10-10 came, we just dropped lower and lower, and now we are again for this cycle at the same values like we were in 2024, in June 2024, or at even no, I thought that in the last bear market we were here also. No, just in June 2024. From there, or like from these lows, we had almost a 500% rally on it. CRV, it's an important player in the DeFi sector. If they're gonna survive, and I think they're gonna survive this bear market, I don't see a reason why not. For me, this is an interesting spot. I'm thinking to add something from a spot trading perspective, not a hold trading perspective. Just for the next months, if I pick up something around 0.23 and this does 100 up to 200%, and if I allocate in it 5%, I'm gonna be a happy camper. I know that this does not sound sexy. I know that this is not the same type of approach like a lot of people have, and they'll say like, oh, I went like 30-40%. I'm not that kind of guy. If I can allocate from the size of my portfolio 5% to it, and this does a 200-300%, and I can move that to Bitcoin and increase my Bitcoin stack, like I can have free Bitcoin. So basically, I just use this as farming more Bitcoin. And I just use it because it's extremely beaten up from all-time high, which is in the last cycle. Look, like it's absolutely destroyed. It's like 96%, but not even from the last all-time, like not from the all-time high from the last cycle, just from this cycle from December 2024, it's even down 82%. So it's in an interesting spot. And again, it's in the same spot, in the same area, at the same lows like it was in November 2024. This does not mean that we're going to go on a 500% rally. We can go like this, and after that, drop before we go into that rally. But for me, this is an interesting spot to pick up some CRV for spot trading, not investing long term. Okay. I wanted to speak about CRV because I like it in this level. BNB, very similar structures to the ones that we spoke about. The only difference is that I mean, this is my value zone between 417 and 530. I had this plan for a long time, and I think that BNB in this region is something that will make me feel interested. With an average price around 500, imagine I have up to 160% profit on one of the highest caps and one of the most, like, I don't know, okay, not necessarily guaranteed, but projects that are guaranteed against failing in crypto. If Binance fails, all the other don't matter. Good. TRX also extremely strong. It's crazy. I was watching TRX the other day and I saw this double bottom on it. And now we are back above 0.32. So if Bitcoin can pick up the big boy pants and continue above 74, 76, I would not be surprised. You can ignore this week. I would not be surprised to see TRX going towards the all-time high candles from here. So, same thing. This I just want to trade. I don't want to hold it. I just want to trade it. But it's something to look at. Who is here? Let me see if it's Jay. Jay is not here. I know that some of the people were watching Monad, or they were asking me about Monad. I don't know if I spoke about it in the last AMA, but this is what I want to see from Monad. So above 0.04, if Monad goes above 0.04 and continues above 0.054, and then I can be interested in, again, a trade on it, nothing else. I think this is a almost 3 risk reward. That's it. Nothing else. Cow is also something that I'm looking at because of what happened in this cycle and how well it's developing during the bear market compared to other altcoins. Aster because it's the baby of, like, it's the next baby of CZ, so don't try to bet against it. I think above 0.92, Aster leaves the lows behind. Spoke about BNB. Sol is bearish in my opinion, as long as it stays under 120. Any requests, something that you guys would like to see? Something besides the privacy coins that we spoke about, besides Tria, I don't know, something that caught your attention and you would like me to analyze, or you like a second opinion, something that you hold in your portfolios, maybe something that you like a second opinion on it. That's why we have the AMAs. So if Solana loses 77, I think it's very possible that we see a drop towards 55, 60. Yeah, so these are my top picks for now. This is what I'm watching. This is what I'm looking at. Even if Pepe has this bounce or this rally, let me show you the chart for Pepe, the one that I posted a few times in the last months. And this is a good indication also for altcoins and Ethereum, because it was among the strongest betas. Not surprised that we see a bounce. Let's see how high this bounce is gonna go. Without the close above 0.6, this is nothing. We're still in a deep bear market for altcoin shifters. Like I said, some of the altcoins, and you will see a lot of people will get surprised by this, and they're going to be in an offside. Some of the altcoins will print the bottom faster. Some of the altcoins will print the bottom a little bit later. Some of the altcoins will have structures like, where is it? Like Zen, and they're gonna go sideways for some time before exploding higher or before going higher. Some of the altcoins are gonna have these structures, still have a new low, and after that print the bottom and gonna continue. This something like Zen can go within this range and go higher without printing new bear market lows. Okay, so it can go a bit higher. Bitcoin can drop, and they can drop also, and after that print the bear market lows and bottom before a lot of altcoins. Some altcoins, they will also bottom before Bitcoin. But we want Bitcoin to lead the charge out of the bear market. Oh, what do we have here? So we have some strong ones here. What happened? I know. So this kind of percentages you see just because they are extremely, extremely low. So these are like minus 95, minus 98% from all-time high. Look at Icon. That's why you see this kind of bounces. Like that's why you see this kind of percentages. And a lot of people will get rowdy on this. Oh my God, TIA today is up 20%. This is what they're celebrating, this 20%. But since I opened the TIA, I know that some people are caught in it from higher values. Maybe this is not a bad maybe this is not a bad spot to average your price. Being so beaten up and being so low from the all-time high, like I said, 98% down from all-time high. If you have your average price, who knows, maybe around 8, picking up something at 0.38 can drastically bring your price down. You can bring it, who knows, maybe if you can bring it back to 2, although it's a financial struggle again to add something that is so low. I did that in the past cycles. If I was trapped in some altcoins from higher values during the bear market, I did my best to average down those prices so I can get up. Imagine, in order for TIA to go back at 8, it needs like 2000% rally. Is it doable? Yes, it's doable. We saw miracles in the altcoin space. But instead of waiting for a 2000% rally, if I can bring my average price from 8.5 to 2.2, I don't need to wait for a 2000% rally. I just need like a 400, 500% rally, which is even in a bear market, you can see this like a bear market rally. So if you're stuck in altcoins from higher values, of course, altcoins that still have a future, not something that disappeared, maybe this is not a bad idea. I mean, disappear means teams are still there. Even if the price is not moving or if the volumes are not there, teams are still there and, they're still doing something. Because otherwise you can risk to just put money in a black hole. This is the risk. I understood the risk also. Last cycle, some coins disappeared, some coins recovered, and I made profit and I moved to Bitcoin. It is what it is there. Cosmin says I have Ethereum somewhere in 2000, somewhere around the price of 2,200. Is it wise to close 50% when we reach 2,500 if we reach that level and wait for a deep drop? No. So this type of framework would work if you had two different portfolios, two different wallets. In one wallet, you just buy and hold for medium to long term. So you buy and hold and you prepare So this is in expectation for the next bull run, and you just do that. And you have another totally different wallet that you do those kind of moves. You bought it at 1,700 and you sell it at 2,500, waiting for another drop. But what you say there, and this is so marginal that is not worth it. What can happen, and I'm very happy that you brought this, by the way, Cosmin, because maybe more people will learn from this. This marginal move, how much is that? It's like 10%. It's not like, why would you risk for a 10%? Because if you go above 2,500 on Ethereum, let's open the chart. If you go above 2,500 on Ethereum, we can go higher. We can go towards 2,800. And I can tell you what happens, or what happened before with other people. They go into the death by 10,000 clicks. I spoke about this before. So your average price is somewhere around here. You said 2,200. But if we break about 2,400, you said that you want to sell here. What can happen, right? How much is this in profit? 12% in profit. What can happen? From here, Ethereum can blast higher. And what you sold here, most likely you're going to rebuy here. We can reject from this and we can make new lows. And you can sell in panic somewhere around this level. And actually here is going to be the bottom. So you're going to chip away. This is the fastest way to destroy the nominal value of your portfolio. I saw so many people doing that. So many people got trapped in that. Emotions are going to go through this, to the roof. Logic is going to go through the ground. So instead of, trying to be cute here and, take advantage of 10% move, right? We don't buy Ethereum or we don't buy altcoins for 10% for the next bull run. You have an amazing entry, 2,200 for the next years. Ethereum can go to 5,000, 6,000, etc. Of course, it can make new lows as well. But I would not do that because of the reasons that I just mentioned. If we break about 2,400, we can even go much higher. Like we can go towards 3,000, right? And after that, the drop again. And this is how you chip away. But the worst scenario, this would be, you sell at 2,500, we go towards 2,800. You panic and you buy back somewhere around here. And after that, we drop and you panic and you sell here. And uh, this would be, you lose like around 30% from your portfolio. And with what you also lost here, because you bought higher, you're going to be down maybe between 40 to 50% on your nominal value of your portfolio. When you could have just waited all of this, okay, you're going to be down 20%, it's fine. You can even buy one more time under 2,000, your new average price. So let's say we go to 1,800, your new average price can be 2,000, from 2,200 with 8,000, with 1,800 can be 2,000 your average price, right? So I'm not in that camp. Of course, you do whatever you want. It's your money. But I've seen so many cases of this kind of try to buy and sell, buy and sell. If you want to do that, have a separate portfolio or have a totally separate wallet that you just do this. And you see which of the wallets are gonna outperform in the long term. One wallet which is gonna outperform by percentage. In one wallet, I would keep 80 to 90% nominal value in Ethereum and 10, 20% by weight, right? By percentages in another wallet to do this kind of trades. And you'll see that most likely in the upcoming years, you're gonna have more profit in the one that you just hold it. I know sometimes maybe I'm not sugarcoating things or I don't tell you what you guys would like to hear, but this is not why you opened the group. And I'm really happy that you like the information. Thank you also for the question. Sometimes people just want to hear what they like to hear. I'm not here to do that. You heard me so many times with Tornado when he was in the group, with Dacian, with Christy, with anybody. When I think something is not optimal, I'm gonna give my input, maybe in a colder way or maybe in not such a sugarcoating way, but I'm gonna tell you what I see that is wrong from my opinion. Of course, I can also be wrong. And of course, what you said here can be a good thing. But from my own experience, from my own mistakes, and from the hundreds of thousands of people that I spoke with, and they wrote to me in DM from Telegram to Twitter to all other places, this is suboptimal. And I think the optimal move is exactly like this. 80-90% of the value of your portfolio, you keep it in a long-term ledger spot wallet. 10-20%, depending on your risk tolerance, you create another totally different wallet and you do this kind of spot moves. And that would be it. Shifters, I see that there is not so much interest on altcoins right now. You don't have so many requests. Understandable for this part of the cycle, but put privacy coins in your list. Put Hype up there in your list. Ethereum the same. And I hope you like the information that we had this evening. Don't get FOMO'd. Let TradFi do its own thing. Let's see if we have continuation in the next 2 to 3 weeks and also on the monthly close for April. Let's see also if the old saying, sell in May and go away, is going to come true. Let's see also how the geopolitics around the Middle East are going to develop, because the things are not clear there. And we're going to have more clarity. For now, of course, I'm still bullish on S&P and on Nasdaq. You saw the levels, and I'm still bearish on Bitcoin. I hope you like the AMA. I'm sorry that I'm sorry. I'm sorry that some people didn't join up on stage so we can have a conversation, because this is how we treat the premium AMAs. Maybe we're gonna do it the next time. With that being said, thank you for being with me this evening. See you on the chat, see you on the charts. Don't forget to vote for your top 5 favorite altcoins, and see you next time. Bye, shifters.